In this unit, we're going to look at some of the more automated methods for setting up database connections. If you remember in the last unit, we did a lot of coding for setting up a database connection, and today we'll be looking at some ways to use some of the .NET methods. But first we need to set up our databases and make sure things are working. So I'm open up the CIS 3049 Unit 5 Chapter 16 app sample. This is the example that comes with the textbook. And we want to make sure that these apps are running and that you're connected to the database. So a good one to start with is this basic view, grid view SQL data source. If I open up that page, it has a grid and a data source, and this is all done with these controls rather than with a lot of code. But now I should be able, if my database is set up correctly, I should be able to run this and see the database. So here's my products, product names, all this stuff should be displayed. If you get an error that the database wasn't found or this isn't being displayed, then we need to do a couple more steps, and most likely you won't see this right away because your database may not be set up. This uses the Northwinds database, so let's look at that. Let me stop this program. And there's two ways of connecting up to this database. One is, let's go into your View SQL Server Object Explorer and create the database there. So in SQL Server you should have a local database here, and you should see this Northwinds database here. Now if you don't see the Northwinds database, we can create that. Inside the project is an SQL command, inst Northwinds, or NWND, for instantiate the Northwind. So if I double click on that SQL, it brings it up here. Now in a perfect world, I could just click run or execute here and it would create the database. At least on my machine with my permissions, this doesn't seem to work or connect up to the right database. So I'm going to just copy this. So you could try that and connect up to this server and see if that works. But my experience is it didn't work. So what I had to do was copy, select all, and copy this to the clipboard. Then I had to go into the Northwoods database and into some database I over here and create a new query and paste that query in here and run it against any database, because the first thing it'll do is create a new database object as part of this query. It doesn't matter what database we're running this against, as long as we're on the right server. And then I hit execute, and it would create this. It created this. I'm not going to do it again because it's already created. Now, it didn't show up right away. I had to go over here where my databases are and hit refresh, and then it shows the database up there. So again, see if you can get that database created. We want it on our local server here. So under database, we'll see Northwinds. And underneath that, we should be able to go to tables. And there should be a product table. It may be DBO product. That's fine. That's just a different reference to this. And I should be able to say view data and see the data in my database. Here. So once you get that created, then hopefully when you run this, it'll display that database for us. Now there's another database. If you're having trouble getting your local version of SQL Server Lite running here, you can also use a database we've moved and put in the app data. This is just a local copy, Northwinds MDF, so it's a local copy of the database that's included within this project. And so you can also look at that. So if I look in app data and open that up, it should go not to the SQL Server Explorer, but to Server Explorer. It should have my database connections and my Northwinds database here. And this is a different copy of my database. And so I can show the table data here and see it'll be a different, just again, another copy of it. And I can use this one also. Now, if I look under web config here, there are two different connection strings, one for Northwinds, and that should specify my local data source on my SQL Server The other one is Northwind's MDF, which connects up to this file, this MDF file that's stored in my data dictionary, which is in this app data area. It's a shortcut to that. And so it's attaching it through that file and opening it up. So Northwinds or Northwinds MDF are my two data strings. So if I'm running this code here and it's not working, if I switch to source code, I should see the connection string here. Here's my connection string, and right now I've changed it to Northwind's MDF, so it opens up this MDF file. I can also switch back and just say Northwinds, and that will go into SQL Server. Oops, not under. Go under SQL Server and connect up through the MDF file. I mean the database on my inside SQL Server here. So again, depending on what connection string you click on, you'll connect either to one database or the other. In fact, in this database, I've actually gone through at one point and edited the unit price for this SERP and made it $9.99. So I can know I'm now connected to that database. Where if I switch this to Northwind's MDF, it'll connect to the other copy of the database. Oops, stop this. Run this again. And here my unit price is only $10, which is what it was originally. So what you want to do is be able to get some data connection, one of these connection strings working, so you can try out these different views, and we'll be looking through these different views in the next lecture, and then we'll create our own data source and data connection.